Hey everyone, Flo from OFTWOLANDS here, and today we're going to talk about the new Sirui Vision Prime Cine lenses. I've been filming with these for the past month or so, and in this video I will talk about my experience with them, what I like and don't like about these lenses, and finally whether or not I would recommend them. I will also discuss briefly how they compare to the Thypoch Simera Cs and the Sirui Jupiters, as it is something that I was asked a lot. As always, before I start, be sure to subscribe to see more videos like this one, and let's jump into it. If you've been following me for a little while, you know that I've been using Sirui products for a couple of years now. I have the Jupiter Macro Cine Primes, which I love, and have used on pretty much all of my cameras from the 6K Pro to the latest Pyxis. They quickly became some of my favorite lenses. I love their look, and I also really enjoy the shooting experience. And I also have been using their video tripod and head. So when they asked me earlier this year if I was interested in testing the new full-frame prime lenses, I said yes. There are a few reasons that made me want to get these lenses. The main one is that these are my first native L-mount lenses, which works perfectly for both my BMCC6K full-frame and the Pyxis. But I was also interested because they're small, light and fast. Now, full disclaimer, Sirui did send me these lenses for me to keep, but they don't get to modify the content of this video, and these are my own opinions. As with all my reviews, I want to give as much information while still being genuine and show you what I like but also what I don't like after using these in an organic way. Over the past month or so, I've been using these lenses to shoot anything from documentary style content to landscape, travel, as well as personal content. And I film in full daylight, in the snow, in overcast lighting, in a car, but also at nighttime. I also recently got my hands on a Hasselblad X2D as a loan for a few months, so I decided to use these lenses to shoot content for it in a documentary/spec ad style. Basically following a photographer friend of mine, Alex, and also my wife, using the X2D and also getting them to help me film myself. As always, when I do reviews, I prefer to use lenses to film actual content or projects and not just test footage. By the way, you should definitely check out Alex's work. He's a great photographer and filmmaker, and I'll put a link below. In terms of cameras, I film of course with the blackmagic Pyxis 6K, as well as the BMCC6K, especially for travel and gimbal content. I also use these lenses rigged up and with minimal kits, both on sticks and handheld. As always, you can find all the gear in the description below. Now let's get into the lenses. The Vision Prime lineup is made of 3 lenses for now, the 24mm, the 35mm and the 50mm. These are all T1.4 and are made for full-frame cameras. What makes them special is that they come with 4 different mounts included, E, RF, L and Z. I have set mine in L. In terms of weight, they're roughly 600 grams, which makes them quite light. And for size, here are them compared to the Jupiters. They have a 67mm filter thread and a 72mm outer diameter. And they have the same size between them, which makes it easy to swap or balance. They also come in 2 different colors, black and grey. And finally, their price is around $650 USD per lens, but you can also get them for $550 with the early bird pricing using the link below. First of all, the image. Having used these lenses in different environments, I can definitely say that I was happy with all of my shots, and I really like the image that comes from the Vision Primes. I think they have enough character to make them special and have that Cine Prime look, but they're also quite clean enough to suit varied projects. I don't find them the sharpest wide open at T1.4, but it is quite shallow on a full-frame sensor, so I stayed mostly between 2 and 2.8. I also find the bokeh quite pleasing, and the breathing seems to be minimal as well. Overall, I'm definitely a fan of the image. It's always hard to put into words what I like about the image, and it was the same thing about the Sirui Jupiter, but there is something about the look. I don't know if it's about the creaminess, I don't know if it's about the color, the way it renders the bokeh, the highlights. There's something about it that makes me want to use the shots and want to keep shooting with them, which is of course extremely important. Next is the shooting experience. Due to their size and weight, I find these lenses to be quite versatile. They are light enough to use handheld or with small setups, or even during traveling like I did or on gimbals. They also don't require lens support, which I like. But you can also rig them up if you wanted to, since they are long enough to put focus motors and a matte box for example. I really love lenses that allow me to use them both for personal content as well as proper documentary or commercial work. Flexibility is always important for me, and these lenses can do that easily. Then we have the aperture. These are the fastest lenses I own. Having lenses I can shoot at t1.4 is always handy. First of all, because you can shoot in very low light, like I did, and still get enough light in. Some of these scenes, for example, were extremely dark. Here's an example on my phone to show you. But 1.4 also allows you to isolate parts of the image and focus the viewer's eyes where you want. Next we have the swappable mounts. I love that you can choose the mount that suits you. These are my first native Cine primes, and even though I often use adapters, I prefer not to. It takes 2 minutes to swap the mounts and it is a nice touch. Another thing that I like is a close focus distance. The 24mm is 0.26 meters, the 35 is 0.3, and the 50 is 0.43. This allows you to get very close to your subject. This is something that really bothers me when trying out lenses, is when the focus distance is not close enough, you actually have to modify the way that you shoot or change your framing in order to adapt for that. With these, you don't have any problems. Full frame. I've said this many times on the channel before, but having full frame lenses means you can either use them on full frame cameras or Super 35 cameras. So they are more versatile and a better investment in my opinion. These cover a pretty wide image circle, so even the 24mm didn't vignette shooting open gate on a Pyxis sensor. Another thing I want to talk about is consistency. With affordable lenses, you can sometimes get a slightly difference in color or look between lenses, but with this set I didn't notice anything different. And to be honest with you, when looking at the footage, I couldn't really tell sometimes which lens I was using from shot to shot. It felt like the same image with of course a different field of view and compression. Next we have the build quality. The bodies feel quite well made for their price, and they feel very well balanced as well. They also feel nice in the hand too. I think these lenses offer amazing value. I don't think there are modern Cine lenses made for full-frame sensors that are T1.4 and have that look, versatility, and consistency across the set for such a low price. And finally, the case. As you know, I'm a big fan of nicely made cases. They're always useful to store and carry or protect your lenses, and the one for this set is great, and I really appreciate the inside and the way that lenses are laid out and labeled. I also like the fact that the lenses stand upright, and since they have markings or grooves at the top, they're super easy to grab as well. I just wish you could pick black or grey, but at least it is a visible case. Some people have asked me about CA. There is a tiny bit of CA, but it is barely noticeable. It's only when you zoom in a lot that you can see it. So in my case, this isn't an issue at all. Obviously, I haven't shot in every single scenario possible, but across the many weeks that I've used them, I didn't notice any issue. Now let's talk about the things that I don't like about these lenses. To be completely honest, I think we have to remember the price. For that price, you can't really complain much, especially for full-frame lenses that are T1.4, but there are a few things that I want to mention. The first thing is a plastic front cap. It feels quite cheap and makes the whole lens look like a standard photo lens. They do work, of course, and are super light, but I'm not a fan of the look. Next, we have the marking in feet that are written in blue. In certain lighting conditions, it can actually be hard to read. I would also like to have the focal length written on both sides. And also, for some reason, the mount on my 50mm feels a lot tighter than the other two, and you have to put quite a lot of force to mount and demount the lens. Also, even though I appreciate the fact that you can swap the mount, I feel like that most people would pick only one, so personally I would like to see a version with only one mount if that meant that it was cheaper or would come in a smaller case. And lastly, I really want to see longer focal length, such as 85 or even 135, to make this set properly useful. So I've received a lot of questions about how these compare to the Thypoch Simera C lenses. I won't do a full comparison, but to me these are very similar in many ways. They're both very fast, full frame, compact, and made for solo shooters. That being said, they're also very different. The Thypoch have much more character and feel almost vintage, so the end result or project needs to reflect and suit this. Then we have the price. Even though the Thypochs are affordable, the Sirui Vision Primes are even cheaper, which can make them more attractive. The Sirui are also better suited to rig up since they are longer, and they also come in more mounts, which make them quite versatile to own. But the Thypoch have more focal length currently. I think it always depends on the project and the look you are after. If you want character above all, or the smallest lenses, then the Thypochs are great. But if you want the best bang for buck, flexibility, and affordability, then the Sirui are a great choice. Versus the Jupiter. When it comes to comparing them to the Jupiters, it gets a bit easier. They both have a similar look of course, but the Jupiter are T2, heavier and larger. However, they do have one amazing feature which is micro, and it is impressive. The Jupiters are also EF and PL lenses, so the target is slightly different, and they also feel better to use and in your hand. The choice between the two will come down to your camera mount and if you need macro or not. Both are great options. Yes, I would definitely recommend the Vision Prime lenses. The image is lovely with enough character while staying neutral, the shooting experience is great, and the fact that they happen to be both full frame and with a small form factor make them super useful for a wide variety of projects, users, and cameras. I also think that their price is super competitive and affordable for the features you get. I would highly suggest you look into them if you're looking at getting your first Cine Prime lenses. That's it for me for today, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and if you did, feel free to subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Also, feel free to check out my 2 ebooks, Freelance Documentary Filmmaking and Travel Cinematography, where you can find a streamlined but comprehensive overview from pre-production all the way to marketing, built on years of my own experience shooting short documentaries and travel videos around the world. And if you are interested, I'm also doing filmmaking mentoring sessions when you can ask me anything about a wide variety of topics.